Sure, hit the right button. So Denise here, because she's an example of someone who did go to onematch.ca and filled it out. So Denise is a version of the kind of person that you're hoping surfaces to help Reese.
Yeah, it was almost everybody I talked to, I tell my story. And I was telling it to Denise, and she said, well, I've got a part of the story too, and I think it's really worth hearing. It's the other side of the equation.
Okay. So Denise, you want to share your experience with us?
Yeah, it was in 2009 that a friend of mine in Kingston Peninsula, it's a small community, her daughter was sick with cancer, and the bone marrow thing come up, and I thought, wow, what can I do to help? Like, I had a child the same age, and it just was devastating to see her going through that, and I thought, there must be a way I can do this. So I went on the internet. I'd never heard of One Match, and all bone marrow transplants, everybody thinks, oh, pain. And I was the same way, but you know what, it didn't matter at that point. So I visited onematch.ca and I signed up. I met the criteria. You have to be between ages 17 and 51 and in good health, and I am. So I filled out the form, and a couple weeks later I got a kit in the mail, and it was just a couple Q-tips. I swabbed the inside of my mouth and mailed it back. And I never thought I'd hear from them again, but there was peace in mind in doing it. I believe it was 3 to 4 months later I got the call that I was a potential match for somebody. It literally took my breath away, but I said, okay, what do I do next? And I had to go in for some more blood typing, and just to make sure who was the best match. I would imagine they had a few candidates. And a few months later I found out again I was the match. So then we started making appointments and scheduling the donation, which would have to take place in Halifax because they don't have facilities here in St. John, which I believe they're working on. And we made the appointment, and at the time I wasn't sure which type of donation I would be giving. You can either do it the old-fashioned way where they put a needle in the hip, or there's the newer way, which I didn't even know about at the time, and apparently that's more common now. Basically it's just like donating platelets, and I was like, wow, it's easier than I thought. So what happened was the date was put in place. There was a lot of contact with One Match. They answered any questions I had, gave me several opportunities to back out. Not that it even crossed my mind, but that was given to me. And the risks were very well, they were there, they told me, but they were minor. Like, compared to what these children or these adults are going through, I said, what's a little bit of discomfort? So 5 days prior to donation day, a nurse from the Victorian Order of Nurses came to my work and injected me with what is called GCSF, I believe. It stimulates white blood cell, or T cells, stem cells, and basically you get an injection once a day, 4 days prior. And the only discomfort I had was I was getting a little cramping because it was pooling. It's ready to be harvested. So that was that was the only thing I felt there. And then the 5th day I flew to Halifax. And basically I was warned prior to taking those needles that if I was going to back out, I had to do it then, because the person that was getting my stem cells were getting prepared. You know, they started aggressive chemo with them. They're going to be killing their marrow waiting for mine. So again, it never crossed my mind to back out. So flew into Halifax and met with the nurses. I mean, they treat you like royalty, like you're giving such a gift, and they're so in awe of it. And to me, it was just so humbling that I could actually give somebody hope. I didn't know if it would work, but it was the hope that I could give somebody, so it was great. I sat in a machine for 6 hours. I was just in a bed, and it was just like donating platelets, I guess. Like, it goes in one arm out the other. It was completely painless. It was just a prick of a needle. And it took about 6 hours, and I was done. And the nurse, I remember when she took away the bag of stem cells, she was in tears, and she said, you know, you don't understand what gift you've just given. And I said, wow. I said, yeah, I think I do, maybe a bit, but wow. And they see it all the time. So I thought it was great, and it was the easiest thing I've ever done, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.